What is happening, folks? Thanks for tuning back into the channel. Appreciate it. I am in the boat getting ready for Kerr, changing hooks, getting the boat straight, and I decided I'm going to do a video on something I have not talked about in a long time. It comes back into play for me, especially in the fall. I use it a lot in the spring, pre-spawn, then once the spawn comes and goes, I don't throw this bait nowhere near as much unless there's a shad spawn going on. And that bait is a spinnerbait. We're in the month of October. We're in the fall time of the year. And I wanted to talk to you about the little system I use for spinnerbaits. It's really basic. But this time of the year, spinnerbait comes back into play. So with the cooling water temperatures and the bass really feeding a lot up on bait fish and any kind of swimming fish as their main forage. In the river, it could be shad, it could be minnows, it could be perch or bluegill, and in the lakes it could be any of those things. It could be threadfin shad, it could be blue herring, you know. So a lot of it's fish related. I guess they call that they term pelagic, and most of what they're eating is swimming fish. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the colors, the rod and reel, and the setup I like to use, the few spinnerbaits I like to throw, and the trailers I throw on. First, let me tell you about my setup. I'd use a 6.5 foot medium heavy, either a Pro Qualifier or maybe one of the older Pro Graphite, IM8 Graphite series rods I have from Bass Pro. Something with a lot of backbone, but a good tip, soft tip where I could cast and get the bait where I want it to go. 3-to-1 to 7-to-1 gear ratio on the reel, and 15 to 17 pound Berkley big game mono for my line. Mostly 3/8 and half ounce spinnerbaits, occasionally 3/4. When I'm fishing it like clear water deal, like say Kerr coming up, Gaston, I like to throw a lot of pearl white translucent skirts with silver blades. As the water gets dirtier or has more stain to it, I'll go and I'll throw a little bit more chartreuse into the mix, and maybe a combination of silver and gold blades. As far as color in the river, I go with a straight up Fire Tiger spinnerbait, silver and gold blades or double gold, or a little combination Indiana with the red kicker Colorado blade on the front. Let me tell you about the few spinnerbaits I like to throw. I don't carry a ton of spinnerbaits. I maybe got 25 I keep in the boat. And these are the colors and the brands I use. This is the Jacob Wheeler Accent spinnerbait. I keep it in 3/8 and half ounce. I got it with double gold blades. I got it with silver and gold blades. And I got it with this red kicker blade and the gold Indiana blade. This is a good little river spinnerbait. I throw this a lot in the river, along with this Strike King Bleeding Bait series spinnerbait. I throw that a lot in the river. That's probably my two biggest river spinnerbaits right there. This is the Bleeding Bait series by Strike King. This is the actual color I caught my personal best on Falls Lake last March. I have a video, Falls Lake pre-fishing for a tournament I had coming up. You can check that video out and see it was 8 pounds 3 ounces on one of the spinnerbait identical to this, with a Strike King Swimming Fluke Junior as the trailer. This right here. This is one of my favorite spinnerbait trailers, is this little piece of plastic right here. I use these. I use the little Zoom tab tail grub, and I'll use the Berkley the Deal as my spinnerbait trailers. But this is probably my favorite. The little boot tail, I got it in chartreuse. This is called white ice, and I got it in pearl. I use those on most of my spinnerbaits. That's what's on this Jacob Wheeler spinnerbait. I just dyed the tail chartreuse. It's got a good boot tail on it, a lot of kicking action, and it's just worked out for me as a real good spinnerbait trailer. That's the only trailers I use is the grub, Zoom grub, the Swimming Super Junior Fluke, and the Deal trailer from Berkeley, either in white or chartreuse. That's my trailers. Like I said, basic and simple. As far as spinnerbaits, there's one other spinnerbait I like. I'm real big fan of this. I started throwing it in the last year or two, and that's the Trickster spinnerbait, the Rick Clunn design Trickster. It's made and carried by Lucky Strike. Some weird things have happened with this spinnerbait where he's had to switch who's making it for him. I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but when I bought these, Riverside was still the ones that were making these spinnerbaits for him. Not Riverside, I'm sorry, Lucky Strike. I don't know where I got Riverside from. Lucky Strike is who was making these spinnerbaits. This is a 1/2 ounce with the 2 long drop blades, silver and gold, with the Zoom grub for the trailer. And this is the 3/8 ounce with the long drop blades, with the Zoom bootleg on it as the trailer. I got this in white and chartreuse in white, and I throw these spinnerbaits a lot as well. I really like these long drop blades because they give you the flash of the willow leaf, but they give you the thump of the Indiana blade. It's a good combination, and these are really good spinnerbaits. I really like these a lot. I got a couple of small spinnerbaits I like to throw. These are made by North Star Tackle. You can only get them on Tackle Warehouse. They make a good little 3 and 4 blade, 3/8 ounce spinnerbait. I throw these a lot when there's a lot of small bait fish around. That's the Berkeley, the Deal on that as a trailer. Throw those a lot in a small bait fish situation. The last spinnerbait I have that I throw on a regular is the Peppers custom spinnerbaits. This was a bleeding bait series. The skirt got all chewed up. The hook, you can still see a little bit of red on it, but it's mostly gold now. Sharpen these hooks over and over again. This has always been a good spinnerbait for me. The Strike King, the Peppers, the Accent Jacob Wheeler, the Trickster, and these North Star small blade spinnerbaits. That's pretty much all I throw. The watercolor determines the skirt color. Like I said, white or pearl spinnerbaits or translucent skirts. This must have something on it because I can't hold it. Translucent skirts. I go to more chartreuse and stained or dingy water. And in the river, I'll go, like I said, to the chartreuse and white with the kicker red blade or the straight fire tiger. And that's pretty much it. One key thing about a spinnerbait is always wind. I feel like you gotta have some wind for a good spinnerbait bite. But you can get away in the fall with not as much wind just because of the fact that the fish are feeding so hard on bait fish. They're looking up and chasing bait, and you can maybe not have to have the wind as much of a factor. But if you got some wind, it definitely helps. These baits are just the ones, they're the ones I lean on the most. One thing I will tell you about the Strike King Bleeding Bait series, the bands that they use on their skirts don't hold up very well. These are a couple I've fished with and have caught some fish with. The skirts just literally fell right off of them. I'm going to buy some new skirts to put on them. And so those I can put them back into the rotation of baits. But that's it, man. I mean, I throw a bladed jig a lot. You guys know I crank all the time, top waters. But that spinnerbait in the fall, a double willow, or even ones with the 3 and 4 willow leaf blades, it just can be deadly in the fall. So don't forget about your spinnerbaits. I just wanted to do a quick video just to touch on some of this stuff. And that's basically my spinnerbait setup right there. I mean, it's that simple. And I'll be throwing a spinnerbait this weekend. I get to go down and pre-practice Friday. The tournament is Saturday. And I'll see what kind of you know, deal happens with the spinnerbait, and it might be something to be tied on for Saturday. We'll just wait and see after I get there. But I just want to make this video for you guys about spinnerbait. I hope it helps. If you got any questions, comments, please leave them below. Guys, if you're watching the videos on a regular, I ask that you just consider subscribing. 68% of the people that watch my videos every week are not subscribed to the channel. I don't know why. You know, I don't know why that is. All you gotta do is click the subscribe button, and if you decide later to unsubscribe, you can. That's fine. It's just that's a very high percentage of people watching the videos on a regular basis that aren't subscribing to the channel. If you subscribe, you get a notification every time a new video would come out. So I wish you'd consider it. Obviously, you know, that's all on your choice and what you decide and don't decide to watch. So I appreciate the guys that have subscribed. Thanks for all the questions, comments, and feedback. And anytime I can help you guys, just leave me any kind of questions in the comment section. You guys know I always get back to you really fast. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys get out there on the water this weekend, catch some fish. And when I get back from Kerr, I'll give you a tournament recap and hopefully some good footage from a good tournament. So I'll see you guys on the next video, and thanks for watching.